In a sleek office lobby, a senior manager dumps a cafeteria worker's bag, scattering tampons, fruit, and a bus pass. To accuse her of theft, a mid-level operations coordinator steps in, logs the food as a donation with her own card, and loses her badge on the spot. Quiet acts follow as a small donation system appears, and people adjust, shifting from looking away to holding doors. Just a quick note before we begin: share this with a friend, and subscribe for more. Also, let me know in the comments which country you're watching from. It always amazes me how far these stories travel. The pear hit the lobby floor and burst. It smeared yellow across the stone tile, slick under a dozen idle shoes. The man in the suit held the canvas bag high like a trophy. A plastic fork, a roll of tampons, an inhaler, and a dented lunch tin clattered out. "This is theft," he said, voice sharp, words cutting across the marble echo. The woman in the green cap flinched and reached, but he tipped the bag again and a bus pass fluttered to her feet. He tipped her canvas bag over the stone tile. "These are company goods," he said, calmer now, like he was reading a label. Coffee cups held midair around them. Security hovered, radios whispering. The woman, still in her cafeteria apron, wet from the sink, said, "They're expired. They were going to toss them." Her hands were red from hot water. He reached out and plucked the laminated name tag off her shirt with 2 clean fingers. It made a small snapping sound. Kayla was the one with the badge and the budget card. She had just cleared the turnstile and was juggling her laptop and a bag of cables. She knew the man's face from the quarterly meetings, the slide decks about shrinkage and cost control. She also knew the woman from the morning's Always a Quick Good Day over the espresso machine, extra foam. When the line was long, a co-worker, in a blue sweater, leaned close and whispered, "Don't, your review's next week." He kept moving, eyes down, like this was a fire drill. Kayla stood, suspended between the buzz of the turnstile and the scene on the marble. She had practiced not getting involved. Rent. The car payment. Her little brother's tuition check sitting in her drafts. She let her eyes go to the woman's hands. They shook. Crumbs stuck to her knuckles. That did it. She stepped between them and knelt, scooping up the tampons and the cracked pear. She tied the drawstring on the canvas bag and wiped the burst fruit with napkins from her pocket. The man in the suit said her name like a warning. She answered without looking up. "I'm logging it as waste donation right now," she said. Her voice was even. She took out her phone and pulled up the internal vendor app. She knew the codes because she had set them up. She tapped the category, Food Rescue. She reached across the counter to the payment pod and tapped her company card. The pod beeped and printed a narrow receipt. The woman in the green cap stared. Kayla pressed the receipt into her palm. "This covers it," she said quietly. "Expired means donated. Contract says so." "No," the man said, stepping closer. "Not after we've had inventory loss. Not today." He was tired in the eyes. He had a meeting in 6 minutes, a call with the board, a gut full of coffee. "It's logged," Kayla said. "You can check the audit trail." The man in the suit pointed at security. "Take her badge. Both of them." The radio crackled. The guard, a big guy with a careful voice, looked at Kayla like she had just stepped into the street against the light. "I'm going to need your badge, ma'am," he said. "Just until this is sorted." Kayla stood up. Her knees hurt from the hard floor. She looked at the woman again. "Do you have a sweater?" "It's cold out," she asked, like this was a normal morning. The woman shook her head and pulled her cap down. They took her badge like it was a hotel key. The plastic clicked into the guard's palm. Kayla handed it over. Her heart was in her throat and her palms felt weirdly cold. She lifted the canvas bag to the woman's shoulder and kept her hand there until she was steady. "I'll walk you to the dock," Kayla said. Not a question. Her laptop strap bit into her neck. A cluster of people pretended to focus on their phones. The man in the suit rubbed his forehead. "You know what this looks like," he said to Kayla in a voice meant for her alone. "We have policies. I'm not the villain here." He looked more weary than angry now. "Then fix the policy," she said. The words came out before she could dress them. She was shaking too. She nodded at security. "You'll walk us through?" The guard nodded, eyes on the floor. He kept a hand to his radio like it grounded him. In the elevator, nobody spoke. The woman held the bag like it was a baby, both arms around it, chin tucked. Kayla pulled off her hoodie and passed it over. "Please," she said when the woman started to refuse. "It's just a hoodie." In the loading dock, the air smelled like wet cardboard and coffee grounds. A forklift chirped in reverse. The concrete was damp and gritty under their shoes. Kayla set the bag on a clean spot away from the puddle and found a piece of tape from the dispenser. She taped the rip in the bag's seam. The woman took a small breath like it hurt. "I'm sorry," she said. "I don't want trouble for you." "It's already a day," Kayla said. "You all right to get home?" The woman nodded. "Bus," she said. Her English was clipped. "Careful. I take the 12. Kayla reached for her own wallet and slid a transit card out. "Here," she said, pressing it into the woman's hand. "There's money on it." The woman shook her head again, then stopped and took it, almost bowing. "I pay back," she said. "Next week?" "No need," Kayla said. She glanced at the guard. He stood near the roll-up door, pretending to read a poster about safety vests. He looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. She held up the printed receipt so he could see it. He gave a small nod, like maybe this would be okay. Maybe the paper would matter later. Kayla crouched and started repacking the bag with slow hands. Sandwiches at the bottom, fruit on top. She found a small blue notebook. It was soft from use, corners rounded. It had names written in neat pencil. Days of the week, check marks. In the bag was a folded dialysis schedule and a power bill stamped final notice. The schedule had a name at the top and a clinic address. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 a.m. The power bill was last month's, the red stamp leading through like cheap ink. Kayla closed the notebook and put it back. She didn't say anything. She slid the bus pass in after it and zipped the side pocket. The woman had found a half bottle of water in her bag and took a sip. "My brother," she said without looking up. She tapped the schedule through the canvas. "I take food for him. And 2 kids next door. Their mother works nights." Kayla nodded. The forklift beeped again. Somewhere above them a coffee machine steamed. She squeezed the woman's shoulder once and stood. A different guard came through the door, nodded at Kayla, and handed her a folded paper. "HR wants you at 10, he said softly. "You can come up as a guest." He looked sorry, like he'd broken something in her apartment. "Okay," she said. She looked at the woman. "Do you want me to walk you to the bus?" The woman smiled, small and tired. "I go," she said. "You brave?" She shook her head at the word like she didn't mean it as a compliment, more like a fact about weather. Kayla watched her push the door with her back and slip into the grey morning, hoodie sleeves long over her hands. Canvas bag hugged close. At 10, Kayla sat in a glass room with a plant that needed water. HR used words like insubordination and chain of command. She didn't argue. She signed the suspension paper. 2 weeks, no pay. They took her budget card too. When she stood, the man in the suit was in the hallway. He didn't say anything. He looked at her shoes and then at the plant, as if he owned both. He was human. He had a lot of spreadsheets. She worked her way home with her guest sticker peeling off her shirt. On the sidewalk by the bus stop, she saw the green cap across the... The woman lifted her hand once, not a wave, more a receiver's signal. Kayla lifted her hand back. The light changed. Cars rolled by. The suspension felt like a heavy coat she had to wear in the house. She answered some emails on her personal phone for the team so things wouldn't drop. She moved money from savings to cover rent. Her brother sent her a thumb-up emoji and a photo of a calculus problem. It made her smile, and it didn't. On Monday, a sign appeared by the espresso machine. Free after 3 p.m. staff and contractors. The font was the same as the allergy notices. Under it was a small metal rack with take-home containers. A line of blue tape arrows pointed toward the back door. Someone had labeled a clean fridge by the loading dock with a stencil. Donation. A cheap lock hung from it, not locked. The guard with the careful voice started saying good morning to the cafeteria team by name. At 5, he wheeled the donation rack to the dock without being asked. He held the door for the woman in the green cap. It was a small tilt of his head. He hadn't grown a halo. He just held the door. In the Slack channel nobody read, a policy update slid by. Food rescue protocols updated. A link. It was real. It had checklists. It had the man in the suit's name at the bottom. When Kayla came back, they gave her a new badge with a different color stripe. Her desk had moved 2 rows over, closer to the mail room and farther from the windows. She lost the project she cared about. Her team lead didn't meet her eyes. But the guy from facilities dropped a roll of blue tape on her desk and said, "Welcome back," like he meant it. She went downstairs at 3:15 and checked the donation fridge. It hummed like a patient animal. There were clamshells of salad, sealed sandwiches, a box of pears. She smiled at the pears without meaning to. The woman in the green cap was there, listing items in the small blue notebook. She saw Kayla and didn't make a show. She just slid a container across the counter, a ham and cheese, and said, "For your brother." The man in the suit passed through the lobby on a call. He kept his voice low. He glanced at Kayla and did a small nod, the kind you give a neighbor, in the elevator. He didn't say sorry. She didn't ask him to. Kayla started keeping folded transit cards in the back of her phone case. She learned the name of the guard with the careful voice. Brendan. She learned the woman in the green cap's coffee order, only when the woman insisted on paying for her once anyway. Small black, extra hot. She learned that her hoodie looked better on the woman than it ever had on her. There were small notes taped up near the dock now. Rescue Liskek as you go. No one called it charity. It was a chore. It got done. A kid in a blue backpack came by once and hugged the woman in the green cap around the waist. He had jelly on his cheek. He vanished back into the city. Kayla didn't become a hero. She answered tickets. She fixed badge permissions. She went for walks at lunch and counted the dogs. She kept a pear on her desk sometimes and let it get soft on purpose, like an experiment in time. She watched the green light on the fridge click on. It was the smallest thing. It meant the seal had closed, the cold would hold. She stood there one afternoon, papers in her arms, and let that tiny green dot be enough for that minute. It was bright against the grey and steady.